Hello and welcome back to this series on V-Rising Gloomrot. So, just a few quick updates from the last episode. Did a lot of castle expansion. Kind of got out to here and actually hit a snag because I am at the limit for this castle heart, which is, I think, level 2. I did make some stairs. This is a new thing where you can make stairs that go up to another floor. I haven't done anything with this yet. Just made the stairs. Now I can just start building out the rest of this area. So that's going to be something I could do in the future once I get the upgrades and I need more room. I also unlocked the forge floors, which are these. So I now am able to access all the bonuses for the forge flooring, which I think is, yeah, it does. It's also is for the simple workbench. And a lot of the items, like the smithy, will also use it. So I need to actually move out all this storage and probably those other items and make room for a couple more forges or furnaces. And then for the smithy, which we'll take a look at very soon. Or we do have access to the castle throne, which I wanted to craft. So I do have the resources on me since we have the iron from the previous episode. I'm going to throw this probably in this corner. This is actually a good spot for it. Just like right here next to this place here. Can I fit in there? I won't fit in there. Okay. I'll just put it right next to right here. Should be good. So we'll get to that in a second. And I should have access to craft the smithy as well. So just some iron, some sulfur, and it's going to be fit in this area. If you hover over it, you can see the below this said smithy, and then it says forge. I mean, it's going to use the forge flooring. Probably going to have to move this. There we go. So now we have access to craft the iron weapons. And with this, we are able to upgrade our current weapons from level 12 to level 15. We have the planks. I have to go get them. But we can access all of the extra abilities now with these weapons. So let me go grab the planks, and then I will show you the abilities. Alright, here we go. We have the mace. As you can see, we have access to another ability. So with the iron tier, it gives you the extra attack. So you have primary, we have the Q, and we have the next attack, which for me it's F, but for most people it's going to be E probably. For the mace, it's going to be like a swing, and it does like a stun. It'll hit somebody and then it'll knock them back and they'll stop them and it'll stun them. So that's it. We'll have to start crafting those. It did bump us up to level 44. As soon as you get access to iron, I'd recommend you craft these things. I'll have enough iron smelted up to make the crossbow and the sword. I don't have enough for the axe just yet. That hopefully will come soon. And here's the new weapon, the great sword. So this one has a couple of cool abilities, which I'll probably speak to a little later once we actually get access to it. But one reminder is to save the weapons that you replace. So we now have a couple of weapons we can give to our servants, and this will give us access to get even better loot from higher tier places. Alright, speaking of servants, this is the castle throne. We now have access to send our servants out into the world. So if I go back and hit claim here, which will progress our questing here. The next one's to interact with a level 4 castle heart, which that's going to take a long time. So you're kind of, once you get the throne, you're kind of stuck for a while. Okay, here we are slightly in the future, and I wanted to take this time to go over the castle throne and the servant hunter system. So you get your servants, you put them in coffins, it converts them into servants. And if we open up the castle throne, you see we now have access to this map And within the map, we have different territories. We can hover over and we can get some information about them. And one of the things provided is the type of loot we would get from that territory. So the first thing we want to do is we want to find out what loot we want our servants to gather for us. So for instance, if we wanted to gather copper, we can hover over and see that there is copper here. And once we have that established, we can now determine how to get the most loot with the highest chance of success. And the easiest thing to do is to find servants with the perks that match the area that you want to send them. So the determining factor of success is the difference between your servant's hunting proficiency and the area difficulty. So the area difficulty here is 300, which is the base difficulty. We can do things to reduce that by matching up the Tenacious Strength perk, which would then reduce it by 100, giving us a requirement of 200 if we find a servant with that perk. So if we look at our inventory to add servants, you can see we have everyone that's red we can add. Everybody that's gray is away on a hunt or injured, and we can't use them. So we have people with these two matching perks that we can add to this group. And if we add one, we can see that there's a 100% chance of success that he will make it through this hunt. The bar is 200 because he matches Tenacious Strength. And we can also see that if he is from the Farbane Woods, because he has the Farbane perk. And what this means is that he gets 20% more loot when he completes a hunt. So the amount of loot goes up, and he'll bring back even more, making the time spent more efficient. That's the simplest way to go about this. There is even more nuance if you decide that you want a bunch of generalists that can go all over the place into different zones and gather resources from anywhere. That's a little more complex, but I just wanted to point out that what I would do to begin with is just to find the perks and then find servants that match them. There are other perks. There are the tracking expertise, which comes from rogues, and there is the military tactics, which comes from warriors, and there is the humble appearance one, which comes from workers, and there's also the sacred resistance, which comes from scholars. So those are the main perks. And then we need to match up the second trait, the second perk, from the location that we found them in. Not where we converted them, but where we found them. So I can go into Gloomrot, find some people, bring them all the way back to my base, and then convert them, and they will be from Gloomrot. Same thing with this one that I found, Bort. He was from Dunley Farmlands. I brought him back to my base, and I now have a Dunley Farmlands brute with Tenacious Strength. Alright, so this is Bort. I wanted to show you the perks. He was 100%. What that gives you is a range of expertise. So when you convert somebody to become a servant, the higher the blood percentage, the higher the range that they will have. So his range was between, I believe, 37% and 44%. So he kind of rolled low on the expertise range. So the bonuses you get from getting someone that has a high percentage of blood in regards to hunting and going on hunts is you get a higher chance of success and you get more loot. The more loot thing is more important than the higher chance of success because I can give him gear to also boost up his chance of success, but there's no other way that you can boost up his loot percentage. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to send these guys out. You can send out multiple. There are slots for multiple people. So I have these two guys that I can send out to gather copper for me. And as you can see, they both have a 100% chance of success. And you can also see the total loot that they would bring back together. So let's send them out. And once you send them out, it turns red. And you have a timer there. Now in single player, they did change it to where the timer ticks down no matter what. So you don't have to keep the server on all night it automatically counts down. That is a system. It's not very complex, but the biggest takeaway is to line up the perks with the places you're sending them to, and also make sure that their blood percentage is high and their expertise is high, because they will give you more loot, which is actually more important than the success rate, which you can boost up by gear score. Alright, so today what we're going to do is probably tackle a couple of bosses. Definitely need Beatrice. So Beatrice gives us cotton yarn and an upgraded cloak, and this cloak gives us garlic resistance, which is kind of important for this area. And we also get access to the loom. So Beatrice is in a town, I believe it's this town, and she kind of paths around in this area, and what we need to do probably is unlock the waygate nearby. So I'm going to head over to this area of the Dunley Farmlands, which is past the mines here. So probably go around and go up this way. And I'm going to look for the waygate, and then we'll head to this town. Also wanted to mention that if you are going to the Dunley Farmlands, you'd want to bring some garlic resistance brews. So what this will do is this will slow down the garlic stacks that you would get. So you won't get them as fast as you would if you didn't have the resistance brew on you. So always bring this if you're going into Dunley Farmlands, and it does last for 30 minutes. And of course, if you're going to fight a boss, I would also bring the other 2 brews that you would need to get the bonuses. So take your horse and head on out to Dunley Farmlands. Okay, so this is the town that we're in. It's called Dawnbreak Village, and this is a waygate that I wanted to grab on the way here. So we now have access to this waygate, so we don't have to actually travel back and forth. At least we can go one way and get there pretty quick. So this village is full of humans. Most of the villages here are just chock full of enemies. I should have got that blood. But another thing I want to point out is that you're going to need a lot of the hide. This thick hide. And the thick hide is gathered from the dogs in the zone, and also from the cows. Like, you'll see cows in the zone. I think sheep as well. Those are the ones you want to farm up mostly. So fortunately for us, the Dawnbreak Village is not a garlic area. Don't have to worry about that too much. But there is a lot of enemies, and so you're going to be spending a lot of time fighting through this. And of course, there's a guy that will attract the enemies. He's a guard. So you're going to take it this place in small doses, and you definitely won't have enough time to get in there. I won't break your horse too much as long as you're not like next to him. They're not going to really attack him. Alright, also in this village you're going to find houses, and the houses have containers. So there's a lot of containers, there's dressers, and there's also little small containers like bookshelves. So you want to be sure you loot the houses as well. You can find quite a few things from there. I still haven't found Beatrice, but I think she's close. And she does path throughout this whole area, so you just have to like look for her and try to clear as much as you can within a reasonable amount of time. Alright, here's Beatrice. She took off running that way. So what I like to do with her is I like to kind of scare her into a certain direction. And she doesn't really fight. If I can get her in a house, that'd be great. So you can just keep her in the house. This is pretty much the fight. You're just chasing her around and try to get her in a corner. She will try to stay in the village. Can I get her in the house? Oh. That's it. I mean, you just, if you have enough guards in here, this fight could be a huge pain. Alright, that's Beatrice. Pretty simple. Okay, so Beatrice, we now have access to the loom, this cloak, which we needed the loom to get. We also have access to cloth, which we will need for the tailoring station, and the cotton yarn. So before you leave the zone, I would definitely recommend getting cotton. Cotton can be found in a few places. This place right here, and there's also a place just north of us that has cotton. So you have to like ride around, try to get the cotton. You definitely want to have your garlic resistance brew on while you're doing that whenever you go to farm up cotton. Okay, if you look at our map, there's another waygate up here, just north of the city that we were just in. And there's a cotton farm right here. So spend some time and get these cotton farms. I'm gonna pop my potions in. I'm gonna go in here. Also some sheep in here. So the sheep, very easy to kill. And we get the thick hide. So you're gonna need quite a bit of thick hide. That's gonna be like an actual really hard thing to get in this zone if you're not actively farming it. But here's the cotton. So as much of this as you can get, you're gonna be using this up a lot in this zone. Let's definitely start early. Alright, we did get 35 stacks. I probably have quite a bit more in there. We don't have the cloak yet, but once we get the cloak, this is going to go down. Especially with the cloak and with the resistance potions. I came to this spot right here on the map. This is the cave passage. I wanted to show you how these things work. So on the map, you'll see these cave passages. And when you go up to the ones in the world that's not... any of them that are not in Fairbairn Woods, so the ones, you know, starting with Dunley Farmlands and then, you know, other places, they're going to be entrances. And then the ones in Fairbairn Woods are going to be exits. So we can just go through and it'll bring us to a spot, a point, which we can look at our map. It's just right down here. So this is the exit passage for the one in the Dunley Farmlands. So they made it to where you can stay in the starting area and not have to travel like so far away just to get back to your base, especially from some of the other areas that are really far out. So I'll head back to the base and I'll see you when I get there. Alright, we're back at the base and we now have access to the loom, which is, you know, planks, copper, and then wool thread. Wool thread you can find throughout that zone. I'm just going to put it over here for now. And this is why you wanted to get the cotton, because the cotton now converts into the ever useful cotton yarn. So you definitely want to throw in all the cotton that you got, which I just got 500, I guess. Yeah, that's about all I got. We did get some books that we can look at a little bit later once we unlock that. So really, cotton and then farming up thick hide. Those are the two big important things that you want to grab. Cloth is helpful. You can also craft cloth using leather and some plant fibers. There also is that method. So that's not too terrible, but this is the only way to get cotton yarn, and you're actually going to need quite a bit of this stuff, especially if, you know, even continuously need it later on with the ghost yarn. So you're probably going to have a lot of time spent in the cotton fields until you get some servants out there that can actually get it for you continuously. Or you can also grab some cotton seeds if you're lucky enough to find those within the chests. I went on another run, and that's why I have this garlic debuff. I do have enough though to make the tailoring bench. So this thing is pretty big. Probably gonna put it over here for now. No other place to put it. But we now have access to the Hallowfang set and the Hunter's Cloak. And the Hunter's Cloak's pretty easy to get. This is the next cloak that we need. This will help reduce our garlic stacks for sure. And so what we need to do now is work on getting this full set, which I might have enough cotton yarn from the last two runs, but if not, then I'll just go out, make the cloak, start doing some more cotton runs in the areas that are infested with garlic. Alright, I'm back and I've completed the full set of the Hallowfang and the cloak, and at set level 47. Marky did come back. And this is what he brought back with him. A lot of whetstones, which is what we sent him for. And some books that we do not need anymore. Which is fine. I might actually just replace him. And in order to do that, what we need to do is take all his gear. And then go over here and just terminate him. And so what we're going to do is, at some point, I'm going to go ahead and find another person to replace them. That's going to be in a Dunley Farmlands area. Probably somebody with a scholar that can farm up the cotton for us, because that is a pretty tedious process, and so I'm going to work on that, probably in between episodes. Okay, so we have a couple of options for the next bosses on the list. We have Christina and Vincent. These guys, they both path around the Dunley Farmlands, kind of in the southern part. And then we have Krieg, who is in the mines. We've already seen him. We haven't beaten him yet. And then, of course, we already killed Tristan. He's pathing around the Farbane Woods. So what I'm going to do is probably go over there and see who I come across first. If I don't come across either one of these, then I can just go and head in for Krieg. It's probably worth getting some iron. So I'll do that, and we'll see who we come across first. Alright, we're back. I'm at the Waygate right here, and I did see that Vincent is close. So I'm going to track him, see if we can find him, and hopefully not encounter anyone else. Oh, there he is, right there.
I'll make this quick and
Oh,
quiet.
who was that? Oh, they hit Shadowblade. Oh, I don't, okay, yeah. So this is why I was saying don't attack these guys, because this is actually the V-Blood. Anyways, so yeah, they're not going to attack each other, but that's fine. So this guy is a Frost mage kind of guy. He does a lot of shield stuff. And he tries to stack up his chill debuff with his projectiles and with his attacks. So we have to be careful not to get hit with too many of those. And of course not hit this either. If we melee him with that, it will cause us to take damage and get chilled. Then we get frozen, and when we get frozen, he can do a lot more damage to us. Other than that, it's not too bad. Okay, we got him. I'm gonna run. I'm gonna try to run and come back and get him. There's no way I can fight that guy. I'm gonna have to just grab it. Hopefully I can get it off before I die. Okay, now that we're safe, let's take a look at what we got. We need to get the Frost Barrier, which does the chill effect. So somebody hits us, we have the shield up. It slows them down. A good thing for like ranged weapons. If you're getting hit, you can just keep slowing them down. We also got the prison cell. This is actually a really good thing that we'll probably get into very soon. And when we get into it, I'll talk more about it. Alright, so we're gonna head back to base and I'll see you in a moment. Alright, back at the base, I did want to craft up one of these prison cells. They are not too difficult to make. It just takes a little bit of iron and some of the planks, the reinforced planks that we learned from Vincent. So what I wanted to do was kind of show off how this works. I'm gonna grab my horse and I'm gonna go out and try to find somebody. Hopefully I can find somebody with a good blood percentage. So I'm gonna start over here because there's a lot of people over there. But when I'm looking for somebody, I did want to point out that you can, while you're mounted, you can switch to blood hunger mode. And what this will do is this will let you drive by and kind of see the blood percentages of people as you're kind of trying to figure out, like, you know, who's who. So what we have is like a method of just quickly going through and finding like a good blood percentage. And of course, if they are like 90+%, you'll be able to see, there's an 83 right there, which I might grab. And you'll be able to see the 90% easily because they'll have that red glow around them. So now that we found somebody, it's just a matter of just clearing that out to grab them. Alright, this is our target here. Just trying to dodge some of these attacks. We definitely don't want to kill him. We want to get him down to where it says feed. And of course, you know, we go to dominate human. And it's the same thing as if we're trying to capture them as servants. But instead of putting them in the coffins, we put them in the prison. Let's go back to our horse, which you can ride the horse while you have this dominate human ability up. And this is probably just the quickest method to grab somebody. Alright, here we are at the prison, and here's our guy. You just click in prison, and it puts them in here. And if you want to take them out, you can take them out. You just make sure you're in dominate human form, and then click subdue. You can actually put them in a coffin if you wanted to, or you can just keep them imprisoned. Once they're in the coffin, you can't undo that. That's kind of a permanent thing. The only way you can get rid of them is by just killing them. So they're in the prison. Let me turn this off. And we now have some options here. The gist of things is you want to extract blood from them. You don't want to extract the essence from them. That's a waste. You want to extract blood from them. And as you can see, when you tap a prisoner, they take damage. So we have to make sure that we keep their health high. And when we tap them, it also causes a debuff called misery. And so you have this misery indicator here. And the indicator kind of says that, you know, the more misery they have, the more damage they take. So you can get to the point where one tap, if they have 100% health, could actually kill them if their misery is high enough. So in order to balance out the health, we get the option to feed them. So we can feed them rats, and we can feed them goby. And goby is a fish that you can fish up, or you can actually buy from the merchants. So if you're out in the merchants and you have extra copper, you can go ahead and buy the gobies. Same thing with the trouts. The trouts have one job, and it's just to reduce the misery. So the trouts and the sagefish are the only methods of reducing misery. So you can keep a prisoner around for a very long time if you have enough fish to feed them. And of course you want to make sure their health is high enough. You can keep tapping them and then keep their misery down with the sagefish and the trout. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to feed them. I did test this out earlier, and I just, you know, grabbed a level 71. I did kill him by tapping him too much. The goby is much quicker than feeding them rats. So while a rat takes 3 minutes and it only gives you a small percentage of health, you could probably take you somewhere between like 10 minutes to fill them up from this point. Where the goby just gives you 100% health no matter how much health they had. I don't actually have any more glass bottles, so we could farm those up. These are things that you get later on. I believe you get them from the glass blower, which is this person here. So we can't actually do this just yet, but that is coming up. And so we have to just rely on finding them in chests and stuff. And so once you tap them, you get these blood bottles, and these blood bottles tell you like the blood type and the quality. And if you drink these, you can gain access to the quality and the type of blood in your blood pool. And the last thing I want to mention is that there's a floor bonus for it. But prison flooring is something you get very, very late in the game. The earliest you can possibly get it is when you start learning the schematics. You can hopefully find a book, or maybe even purchase the book from Hills, the Silverlight Hills. But this is much, much further away, and you have to already unlock the schematics and the the final tier of research. So that's it for the prison cell, and that's going to be it for this video. I thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.